doesn't. And here in San Juan, it's Xavier by 6, despite the fact that Derek Brown has 2 fouls.
No points, 2 rebounds, and I think that speaks to it's a good news, bad news, because it speaks to the luxury Sean Miller has now that he's got depth on that front line with Kenny Freeze and Love and now McLean.
One of the things that's kind of the hallmark for Xavier, that balanced attack. Last year, Josh Duncan led them in scoring, only 12.4 points per game, but they had 6 guys between 12.4 points per game and 9.7 points per game. So they basically had 6 double-figure scores.
Yeah, and it was Drew Lavender that was the point guard that made everything run. I mean, defensively, he could change the game. Offensively, in a half-court set, he was the guy that could get into the middle of the lane and dump off to Derek Brown and throw back out for wide open jump shots to Josh Duncan and also B.J. Raymond. So missing him this year was a huge question mark, but Terrell Holloway and Dante Jackson are doing a nice job thus far here early in the season.
I remember Sean Miller last year telling me that they had 6 go-to guys. But I think the beauty of the early part of the season is you're trying to find some different go-to guys.
Terrell Holloway, the freshman, handling. He originally committed to Indiana, but was let out of his commitment when Kelvin Sampson was fired. And he's done good work.
It's interesting about Holloway because he's from Hempstead, New York, but he went to prep school in Cincinnati last year at Harmony Prep. So he's not only familiar with the city of Cincinnati, but also away from home for a year already. So he's made that adjustment, I think, pretty well to college life.
19 fouls on Memphis. It'll be 1-1. Dante Jackson at the line. The first, the substitution as Love checks in. And Kenny Freeze, the 7-foot freshman, will sit.
You know, I was looking at Xavier's non-conference schedule. You could just tell how much they've grown as a program. I mean, they've already played Missouri, Virginia Tech. Here they're playing Memphis. They play Cincinnati. They still play Duke, Butler, Auburn, and then they go to an LSU team that no one is talking about in the SEC, but probably the most talented team in that conference.
I think you're right. If they get good point guard play, they've got Garrett Temple back, and they've got
Tasman Mitchell.
Yeah, Tasman's
Chris
healthy.
Johnson.
Yep. And then Thornton, the junior college kid that scored a lot last year.
Tyreek Evans been quiet here in the first half. The fadeaway jag.
Did you see how far they backed off of him? They were daring him to shoot that shot.
Jeff Robinson the board, and he's fouled.
Take a look at this. Watch this now. They're backing off of him. They're just backing off of him. And then he shoots a fadeaway. Right now, Tyreek Evans, and I know that there's some talk. We talked about this. Guys going right to the league after 1 year. He's got to really work on that jump shot. Nobody will guard. You know this better than anybody. Nobody will guard him.
Well, I mean, he has great size, athleticism. I think he can be a really good defender. He can handle the basketball, but he needs to improve on his jump shot. He has to be able to knock down that 15-foot jump shot all the way out by the three-point line. But see, in high school, he never even had to shoot that.
No.
He was better than everybody else. And we talked about it before. This is the first time he's playing against somebody that's his size, his athleticism, same skill level. What are you going to do now?
When the games are meaningful.
Exactly.
Because in the summertime, you know what? It's like video games. You lose a game, okay, you play the next game.
Right.
You know, none of the games are really that important. He's a good kid. I mean, he's a hard worker, too.
He has potential. He's going to be great by the time he leaves Memphis.
It's a matter, at least in part, of unrealistic expectations, because he is their leading scorer coming in at 15.3 points per game.
But the problem is when you're the number 1 or 2 player in the country in a given year, it doesn't mean you're as good as Michael Beasley or Kevin Durant. That's just the luck of the draw.
Yeah, I think that hits it right on the head.
It hits all these guys.
No, in this tournament, seeing DeMar DeRozan and Tariq Evans also made me think, wow, Kevin Love and Derrick Rose.
They were good.
They were really good.
I mean, Michael Beasley.
They were really good.
McLean with the shot clock winding down, off with the 3. Push up ahead. Robinson, had to go off his hands, but they get Dante Jackson with the foul. his second, and I think Robinson was kind of bailed out right there by Jackson.